Today's morning coffee vinyl side, Chet Atkins at Home, 1958. Chet returns to morning coffee vinyl side with this 1958 album, Chet Atkins at Home, recorded in his home studio in Nashville, Tennessee. Like Les Paul before him, Chet had a keen interest in electrical engineering and understanding the tools of his trade, and many of the effects he used during his recording sessions were either of his own invention or resultant from tweaking or improving the design and use of existing pieces of equipment made by others. The liner notes of this album tout several of Chet's accomplishments, painting him very much the Renaissance man. Yet just how much Chet did on his own is unclear. Hype and hyperbole were not unknown in the 50s, and some of the claims made in the liner notes are hard to substantiate, like the invention of something Chet was calling the invisible bass man. But there's no question he was an innovator as well as one of the finest guitarists of the 20th century. Chet had an amazing affinity for finger picking, using a hybrid style of both Travis picking and classical fingerstyle that allowed him to create and play sophisticated bass, chord, and melody arrangements on solo guitar. Though considered a country gentleman, his musical taste spanned all styles, and the musical program on this album reflect that. Chet was one of my grandfather's favorite artists, and I only wish the two of us had been able to spend some time listening to Chet together. Alas, he had very few, if any, Chet Atkins albums in his collection, not necessarily because he didn't or wouldn't have wanted them, but because of supply and demand. He spent nearly 30 years of his life living in an isolated company town on the west coast of BC, and he was at the mercy of whatever was brought into the company store or trading post. Now, how he managed to accrue a collection of barbershop quartet albums remains a bit of a mystery, although I suspect he bought them through some sort of specialized mail-order distributor. Now, this album is fantastic. Fantastic that even though I have a full day ahead of me, I'd much rather hide out at home all day spinning it while thinking about my grandfather. Now, that's not going to happen, but it sure is a nice thought.